So how do we do a box shadow on a box? Box model, everything on the web is a box, right? So we had a text shadow, we saw that. Now we're going to look at a box model. Box shadow property describes one or more shadow effects as a comma-separated list. It enables you to cast a drop shadow from the frame of almost any element. If a border radius is specified on the element with a box shadow, the box shadow takes on the same rounded corners. The Z ordering of multiple box shadows is the same as multiple text shadows. The first specified shadow is on top. Box shadow generator is an interactive tool to allow you to generate a box shadow. Let's understand it first, and then we'll look at the box shadow generator. So here's the syntax. We have the X, Y, blur, and color. We also have X, Y, blur, spread, color. So spread's kind of new. And if we look at what blur is, it says the bigger the blur, so the shadow becomes bigger and lighter. And spread radius, positive values will call the shadow expand and grow bigger. So I'm not sure what the difference between blur radius and spread radius is, but we'll play with it and maybe we'll see. So the first thing to do is create our div. So it's text shadow, cancel. And here's box shadow. And I'm just going to get rid of, well, we'll leave that. We might do something with that. Rename that just O2. And open it up and index. And we'll create a div. And then our CSS, split vertically. And the div, well, first, HTML body, height 100%. And reset some stuff. And we have our margin, our padding, and then our border, and then our margin, and our box sizing, border box. And then for the body, display flex, and that's flex direction row by default, so we can just say justify content, and that will center horizontally. And align items, and that'll center vertically. And then our div, we need a width of 1. I guess 200 pixels. And a height of 200 pixels. All right, and then a background color, black. So I've got a question for you. Let's preview that, and then let's see what we can do. This div stays the same size no matter what. How would I make that be able to shrink and grow with the size of the window? Cool, so let's do a percentage. So maybe 30%, 30%. But now it's no longer a square. It's kind of interesting, right? Changes from one rectangle to the other. There, it's perfect. How would I get it to be just a square? It's fine, but just curious. Anybody have any ideas? Yeah, I was thinking maybe rims, right? So we could try that. We could say HTML, but that's font size is 1 VW. And would this work? Like 10 rim? Because rim looks to, I'm not sure if that'll work. It does work. But isn't rim supposed to look to font size? Whoa. Kind of cool. But unfortunately, VW is only 80%. So now we just need to add a shadow, and that's going to go onto the div. So what's it called? Box shadow. And we have X, Y, blur radius, and color. And we can make the X bigger. And we can make the Y bigger. And we can make the blur bigger. And then we could try, there's blur, and then there's that other deal, right? So let's bring this out a little bit. And so what happens if we do this? Because that was blur, and then what was the other thing called? Spread. Spread radius, blur radius, spread radius. So what was the difference there? That's with just blur 1 pixel. This is with 10 pixel spread. Spreaded it out a little, right? What about if this is 10 pixel? So there's the blur, and then here's the spread. I don't know. I'm just going to stick with blur. It's kind of interesting. So if I wanted to add notes to the markdown about this, I could add some code, CSS, 3 backticks, and I'd go get this example. I like this one right here, these two. So I'll include those in the notes. And then pound box shadow, and then some of this. X, Y, blur radius, color. And if I wanted to, I could do this. But that'll be confusing. That'd be a bulleted list. See the bulleted list? I like it better. Just like that. And if I wanted to, I could do this. This is how you get a lot of commits in one day. You do markdown and keep checking to see what it looks like on GitHub. And then you have like, I had 32 commits that day. So now that's bold, XY blur radius color. And then I'll just read this. Enables you to cast drop shadow from the frame of any element. If a border radius is specified, then the box takes on the same round corners. And then we have box shadow generating tool. So let's go look at that tool and see what we can learn from that. But first, yeah, I guess I'll leave up this next example. So here we have box shadow generator. Whoops. And element plus shadow, position X, position Y, blur, And you can see down here, right here, box shadow, you can see the code changing to see what it does. You see that box shadow code changing is the, so that's the blur radius, and then here's the spread. So we can see the spread in action. You know, hey, there's the effect I want. 15 pix, -5 pix, 73 pix, 1 pix, that color. All right, box shadow.